Hi, and welcome to This Week in East Brunswick, the Township's news and information program. Tonight we highlight the East Brunswick 11th Annual 10-kilometer race. The Dorian House enjoys its day of execution, while the Township Council okays a bond ordinance to acquire land for a new senior citizens housing project. Later we'll have a review of Monday's action meeting. School Information Officer Amy Fisher was at Irwin School today, where third graders learning about the electoral process designed their own ballot box and voter registration. First graders were formally introduced to the library this week by librarians in the Children's Department. We'll hear from Channel 8's Dolly Vasta, who won her third Cable Award for Programming Excellence for her regular series For Art's Sake. Next week on Channel 8, it's Lenore Kulik at 10 Monday morning with Look Great, Feel Great. At 10:30, children's librarian Susan Pober presents stories from the library. This week, the library sponsored debates between both the mayoral and the township council candidates. Next week, most regularly scheduled programming on Channel 8 will be preempted by repeats of the debates and the candidate profiles, which were recorded in September. Be an educated voter on November 8th. Stay tuned to Channel 8 all next week for special campaign-related programming. Tuesday night, candidate profiles are featured. The council candidates at 7:30 and 8 o'clock, and the mayoral candidates at 8:30. The council candidates debate will be shown Wednesday at 7 p.m., Thursday at 8:30 p.m., and Saturday afternoon at 12:30. Council profiles will be shown Thursday night at 7:30 and 8, and Saturday morning at 10 and 10:30. The mayoral debate will be shown at 11 Saturday morning. 22-year-old Sudhanshu Kairab won East Brunswick's 11th annual 10-kilometer race on Sunday. The Old Bridge resident finished in 31 minutes 26 seconds with no competition in sight. The course record is 29:50. The first woman finished in 37:36. She was 23-year-old Lori Fite of Edison. Race director George Kelly commented on the luck of the runners Sunday.
Our race is held this year on October the 23rd, Sunday, and as you probably know, Saturday was a horrible day. Monday is predicted to be a horrible day, and here we have a beautiful day for our race, as we usually do for the 10-kilometer race. Again, the 11th annual. Let me take a moment to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors are ITT Continental Bakery, LJ Smith Farm, Blackstone, and Hanson Savings Bank. And as usual this year, we've had a lot of cooperation from the Recreation Department, from the East Brunswick Social Runners, and from the community at large. Many, many, many people have come out to run in this race and to enjoy the race, and also to watch it. And we hope that next year that you will be one of these people who comes out to run in our race. We'll be looking forward to seeing you out there.
My name is Phil Benson. I happen to be the race director of the Asbury Park 10K Classic. It's held in the summer in Asbury Park, which is the largest road race in New Jersey. But here we got one of the nicest, challenging courses in the state. A perfect day for racing. I just finished the course. I'm in the 40 to 45-year-old age group. I came in third and had a good battle. The course is 10 kilometers of rolling hills, very challenging. I don't really know what the winning time is. They just came in and came right to the mic. But the weather was perfect, a slight breeze going out. Had wind to your back most of the way. Temperatures in the mid-50s. And it's just ideal. Couldn't ask for anything better than today's weather. You see the people coming in now. Coming in at approximately 42 minutes, almost 43 minutes. Starting to get to the middle of the pack runners. These people still here are still probably a little better than your middle of the pack, because they're at, I would assume, training anywhere from 30 to 40 miles a week. And you can see everybody has a race within a race, and there are, I think, 12 age groups every 5 years. So even though you're not in the beginning in the lead pack, you still can be fighting for a trophy.
Each year, all first graders in the township take a trip to the library. Last Friday morning, we caught up with the children from Warnsdorfer as they made a beeline for one of the library's meeting rooms. There they were welcomed by Carol Phillips, director of the Children's Department. Within minutes, the house lights came down and Carol disappeared backstage. On stage, Winnie the Pooh, who was too much into the honey as always, got himself stuck in Rabbit's house. His friends determined that the only remedy was for Pooh to diet, which he did most unhappily. Finally freed from his confines, Pooh and his friends visit the library and discover the many wonderful things it has to offer, including diet books. A friendly librarian, Mary Ellen Burdell, guides them on their journey and dispels any fears they may have had. After the show, the children couldn't wait to share all of their library experiences with Carol, who listened attentively and then escorted them to the children's department. Carol showed them around and then let them loose to find books on their own or with a friend's helpful suggestion. Some chose quickly and couldn't wait to get the books home. Others had a hard time deciding. In the end, everyone lined up at the circulation desk and checked out their selections. Those who didn't already have their own library cards received one during their visit. They all seemed to enjoy their independence in selecting and checking out their books and handled it all very responsibly. "91 Dutch Road, the site of local controversy in recent months. The house at this location was built during the Civil War and changed hands throughout the 20th century. It is presently owned by the New Jersey Turnpike Authority and is adjacent to the bridge expansion over that highway. The Turnpike Authority does not want to maintain the building, which they say is structurally unsound. They want to tear it down, and they've sparked a public outcry. East Brunswick resident Richard Walling is a local history buff and a former town historian. He knows the history of the house and says it has cultural significance worth saving.
As I said, that this house is the last homestead of a German community in the neighborhood between East Brunswick and Milltown. Milltown itself was established by German immigrants during the 1840s and 1850s, and many of their homes are still in existence along the Main Street area. Dutch Road got its name from the fact that the Deutsch, or the Germans, lived in this area, and this is the very last home in good architectural integrity, which means in terms of historic preservation, it looks virtually the same as it did when it was built, and also it is structurally sound. It was lived in up until about 4 or 5 months ago by the Dorian family. This is the very last vestige of the German community that lived in this area. And that's why we consider it to be so important to the local area, to East Brunswick. I might add, during the years of the Historic Preservation Commission, which was abolished in 1984 by Mayor Fox, that this house was going to be added to the Historic Preservation Ordinance as worthy of saving and of preservation.
Township resident Thomas Sadlowski is a member of the Preservation Coalition of New Jersey. The house is one of their projects. They put up $25,000 in cash to guarantee round-the-clock security of the house, a condition of a Superior Court restraining order which prevents the turnpike from demolishing it.
And in this particular case, we were notified by the Town Historic Society that this particular house was in jeopardy. When we checked the materials sent in by the turnpike to the state offices, which are called environmental impact studies, we found that the turnpike had done no studies of any of the land areas outside of the widening path of the turnpike. If you look out here, the turnpike from this point is approximately 500 to 600 feet away. They did do an environmental impact study in that corridor itself, but they failed to do any environmental impact studies, which they're required by law to do, outside of that, such as in this particular case, and any other bridge that goes over the turnpike. Which this comes down to is, these roads are very historic. Each one of these roads were put in when the town was formed. Now, where the turnpike is right now, the houses and the historic materials that were there are, of course, gone when the turnpike was built. And the bridges that went over the turnpike originally followed the original road pathways. So they did not impact either side of the road. Now, however, with the new widening project, they're putting the bridges either to the south of the old roads or to the north of the old roads. In doing that, they are now impacting somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 to 5,000 feet of new road space.
The Turnpike's information officer declined an interview, but their public relations specialist, Jean Adubato, said the construction is exactly where they told the owners it would be. She says the Turnpike Authority bought the property as a courtesy to the Dorans, who feared the house wouldn't withstand the vibrations of the construction. On November 21st, the State Review Board for Historic Sites will decide whether or not the house deserves a spot on the State Register of Historic Places. If it's designated historic, no one can legally tear it down.
Hi, I'm Amy Fisher, and I'm the information officer for the school system. Today, I'm at Irwin School, where third graders are learning about the election process and getting ready for the big election. And we're going to be talking with some of the students. What is your name?
Jennifer Brixey.
And can you tell us what's happening here?
The third graders of Irwin School for Mrs. DiDario's class, Mrs. Franciscone's class, and Mrs. Schumann's class have been studying the election process for the past 2 months. We have discussed issues, made campaign posters and bumper stickers, held debates, nominated candidates at a mock convention, registered to vote, and conducted an election with ballots for the presidential candidates. We also polled various classes to find out where both candidates stood, made a voting booth, and wrote essays and stories related to the election. We've had fun and learned a lot about the importance of voting in our country.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. I think now we're going to watch some of your classmates register, and then we'll talk to some more people. Hi, here we are again, and these are with two of our students who are going to talk about their choice for president. First of all, what is your name?
Jeffrey Rifkin.
And Jeffrey, who would you vote for?
George Bush.
Why would you vote for him?
Because he would support the death penalty, he would not hire taxes while he's in office, and he would make more weapons for us.
Thank you very much for telling us. And what is your name?
Rebecca Waldron.
And Rebecca, who would you vote for?
Michael Dukakis.
And why would you vote for him?
I would vote for him because he does not want to spend a lot of money on space weapons and Star Wars. And he wants to spend more money on the poor people. And he would not make it a law for children in schools to say the pledge to the flag.
Well, thank you very much. So there you have the political report from Irwin School for this week.
Hi, I'm Judith Lebline, Director of Recreation Parks and Community Services, and I'm here today visiting the set for Art's Sake to make a very special announcement. We're very proud to announce that the Township of East Brunswick has won the CTN 1988 Cappy Award for Best Series in the Culture Division, and I'm here with Dolly Vasta, the Arts Coordinator, and for Art's Sake is Dolly Show. Hello, Dolly. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, Judy. It was an honor, and it was fun going to the fair Friday night. As I said to you at the office Friday, I really didn't think we would take a second series, a second year, because we won this last year.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the award, Dolly. What is the Cappy Award?
Well, you know, so I don't foul it up. What I will do is read from the program here. And it said the Cappy Awards are designed to provide recognition to the talented people who have made significant contributions to the programming on CTN.
So for Art's Sake, the show itself won for Best Series.
Right.
Now, you submitted a tape for
That's
the
right.
award. What tape was that?
Well, the tape, actually, we put together here, Dave Ambrosi and I put it together, and it was 3 of what we thought some of the best shows we had done
so it was a
last year.
collage
It was a
of sorts.
collage of shows, and then we tagged it with little pieces, little vignettes at the end. I think 15 minutes is their time for their tape that they allow you to send in, and we did something like 12 minutes on the 3 shows, and then very fast we snuck in very fast vignettes from maybe 4 other shows. So we really kind of did a sneaky, but it paid off.
Well, many of our residents may not realize that For Art's Sake shows on Channel 8, our local station, but it also shows on the cable television network. Is that
Station, right. And actually in East Brunswick, it used to be Channel 14, and they moved it up to Channel 61. And the problem is that people think, gee, once you get past 30 or 40 up there in those channel range, that there's nothing left, but there really is. So if they miss it...
So there's life after Channel 40. Huh?
That's right.
Okay, so Channel 61 if they want to see
That's right.
your show.
Right.
Now, you mentioned something about the production of this show. This is really a team effort. Who gets involved in producing and putting together For Art's Sake?
Well, you know, this award, Judy, really belongs to all of us. I'll break their arm if they take it home, but it really belongs to the entire staff here at Channel 8, because since 1982, when the show has been produced, it has been a team effort. It was with Chuck Marsh, who was my original director and co-producer, and now with Dave Ambrosi, who is my director, but also that Cindy Schiffman, who heads this studio, works on this show. Pete works on the show. All of us have worked very hard over the last 6 or 7 years, and I think for a municipal access station to come up with a best series show 2 years running is a tribute not to myself, but to the entire staff here, and I'm really very grateful to them.
Well, I know the township family is very proud, and the reason for coming on today is to let everyone know and your regular viewers know
That's
that
right.
you have received that award. Can you briefly tell me what goes into putting together a For Art's Sake show?
Oh, a lot of sweat. Actually, there's more there's more time and thought than I think people really think about. There's a lot of pre-production, a lot of post-production, editing, but I get dozens and dozens of letters now every week on people who want to come on the show, artists, visual performing artists of all types. And I really talk to them on the phone to see whether they'll make good subjects. I usually have an interview with them ahead of time. Then we do the show. We often go on location, or we edit tape of theirs in. Our last show with the dance series from New Jersey had a lot of tapes that were edited in. Then after the show is done taping, then we do post-production and we talk about it. So there's a lot of time and a lot of thought time in my own head, really, that goes into this.
Well, it certainly is a beautiful team effort, and we're proud of you here and the whole staff that put it together. For Art's Sake will continue to appear on CTN and,
and
also on Channel 8.
And you know, something that I just wanted to tag this with is that the studio itself here is so well equipped and so well staffed. So many of the shows that come out of here, this studio are really award-winning shows. And I spoke at a seminar on television on Saturday. I did a whole seminar on programming to other cultural groups who want to start to use television as a medium. And all of them, and all of their access studios in other towns that are just beginning, really hold East Brunswick Studio up as the epitome of really professional staffing.
Well, I know it's something that the township residents enjoy, and certainly with awards like this coming in, they'll start to learn the significance of having local television. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you, Judy.
Hi, this is Peggy Ballister-Howells, Middlesex County Agricultural Agent, and it's time to dig out the dahlias. Dahlias are one of my favorite flowers, and this one is a particularly beautiful example of a dahlia. Its color is rich and deep, but I'm afraid they have to go. They're just not going to tolerate a frost, so we're going to try and save the last few dahlias that are here, so I'll have a nice bouquet out of them. And then it's time to dig out the plant. Storing dahlia bulbs is a little bit tricky because they can dry out easily, but if you keep them too wet, they rot easily. So the ideal situation is to keep cool temperatures with a fair amount of moisture available, but not so that they're wet. Now I think I'm going to save this one. This bud might just open and be worth holding on to. Okay, so you cut the stems back to about between 6 and 12 inches, depending on the variety. And then the best bet is to really use a pitchfork. Now remember that the roots are much larger than when you first planted them. So you don't want to get too close to the stem when you're trying to dig them out. Lift carefully, trying not to disturb any of the tubers. You certainly don't want to stab them in any way. Okay, I think that should do it. Okay, I got it. You want to shake the dirt off as gently as possible. Put all the little worms back in the ground. Some summer bulbs are stored, oh, we lost this one, are stored with the soil on, but dahlias are best stored with as much of the soil off as possible. Now you want to let this dry for about 3 or 4 hours and then store it. They prefer cool temperatures down around 40 degrees. I generally pack mine in styrofoam noodles. And here we go. You can see all the little roots. This is about 3 times the size it was when I planted it in the spring. And hopefully it'll overwinter and I'll be able to plant it again next year. Now another thing that I want to dig out is my calla lilies. Calla lilies are one of my favorite plants. You can see that they have beautiful leaves, but these are just not hardy around here either. This is the toughest part, cutting them back. But it's better to cut them back now before we have a frost, because once you get a frost, what happens is they get soggy and mushy and are most unpleasant to work with, and you're more likely to have loss over the winter. Get off all the leaves. I think these two may have come from the, oh, these broke right off. Take them out. Cut back what's left. Okay, we're going to have to pitchfork these out again. Now these aren't quite as tricky to overwinter. I've had no trouble overwintering these for 3 years now. No, that doesn't do it. And the roots aren't quite as large. Now these you want to allow to dry not for just 2 or 3 hours, but more like 2 or 3 days. These you can see break into individual roots, and they can be planted again next spring after all danger of frost has passed. Now after they've had the opportunity to dry for 2 or 3 days, you want to pack them in styrofoam noodles until you bring them out and plant them again next spring. And we'll see you here in the garden next week.
On Monday night, the Township Council okayed a $435,000 bond ordinance for a November 14th public hearing. The bond is needed to purchase 7/10 of an acre for a new senior citizens housing project. Construction and drainage costs for the units will also be partially funded by this bond. However, the Township expects to be reimbursed because the low and moderate income housing units will be almost entirely funded by a $4.5 million federal grant. Citizens were on hand for the public portion of the meeting, seizing the opportunity to air their negative views on the condition of the roadways in the township. They were concerned over the abundance of construction and unsightliness on the roads, as well as the usual dissatisfaction with the unbearable traffic situation on Route 18. Director of Public Safety, Thomas Terrell, attempted to alleviate these concerns. But solutions are limited, he says. Most of the current construction projects are sponsored by the county. One of Director Terrell's concerns is that of a recently installed traffic light at the intersection of Route 18 and Narracon Place. The computerized light cannot be operated manually and consequently is causing traffic tie-ups during rush hours. Director Terrell cited the need for a mechanical device which would allow police officers to manually override the signal to better regulate the flow of traffic. Councilman Joseph Hudak called for a reconsideration of a resolution requesting that the Environmental Protection Agency conduct an investigation identifying the types of garbage previously dumped at the Edgeboro landfill. The council originally tabled this resolution, citing an agreement between East Brunswick and the Middlesex County Utilities Authority. In that agreement, the township is not able to institute any actions against the MCUA that might impede the operations of the landfill. If the agreement is violated, East Brunswick could stand to lose host community fees of up to $3 million. Hudak was alarmed to learn that such a request letter was recently sent to the EPA from the MCUA, and noted that surrounding communities have already adopted similar resolutions. The resolution is slated for discussion on the next council agenda meeting. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.